Are you ready for this, boys? Because we're back.
Let's go.
We're back. We're back. We have another week of the Coast to Coast Sports Pod. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming in to hang out with us. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, share, tell everybody, tell anyone. I told Carol down the street.
You did?
She doesn't even have Wi-Fi. Guess what she's getting installed tomorrow?
Wi-Fi.
Spectrum.
Just for us.
Spectrum. She's getting installed. Told her.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna tell Tammy, who lives across the pond. But we'll figure it out.
Carol lives in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But as always, we're back, looking better than ever. I didn't get to wear a jersey. Came from 9. I shot 47. Not great. Not bad. You know, I could have played better. Left some pars out there. Left some birdies for sure. No doubt. Lost a few balls. But John's back repping the Trent Richardson jersey.
Yep.
And so you always got that going.
Yes, you do.
First round busts. You know, then we got Will over here with the cheetah print. Keeping it Cisco 80s. Kind of little 80s vibe.
That's my
90s.
vibe today.
Going a
That's
little
my
clubbing
vibe
with the
today.
glasses
Yeah.
on. I love that. But as always, I'm your host, Harrison. And to the left of me, we always got our boy John. To the right, I got our boy Will. And behind the scenes, we got our boy Ryan. John, anything to say to the people before we start?
My Trent Richardson jersey, it fits our topic today of the draft. And one of the greatest draft picks ever, Trent Richardson. I thought I'd represent him
Going
today.
down. He's
NFL
going down.
legend.
NFL legend. Colt and Brown legend.
Colt,
Fits
yeah.
perfectly.
And you're forgetting his stint on the Oakland Raiders, I believe.
Yeah, he did play
Oh,
on the
that's
Raiders. You're right.
terrible. I didn't know
So,
that.
Trent Richardson, come on the pod. We'd
We'll
love to have you.
Love to have you. We'll trade a first round pick for you.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know.
That was the point. That was low hanging
I don't know
fruit.
which Indianapolis organization
I know,
would do
right?
that.
And always so right, Will, we got anything to say to people?
We do. I have a quote of the week.
We got a quote of the week.
Okay.
All right.
Quote of the week.
Lay us a quote,
Quote of the week. This was said on May 9th, 2022.
Oh, so
So this
Not-
was yesterday.
This was yesterday.
This is yesterday.
It's a
Okay.
very
Yeah,
recent
third
quote.
wall.
So no Gandhi.
The quote? No
No
Mother
Gandhi. Teresa. Go
No,
on.
no. No Bob.
Bob Barker?
No Bob Dylan quote.
No Bob Barker.
No. No. The quote of the week is, "That's how they do the creeping," said by yours truly.
They do be doing the creeping sometimes.
Yes.
And that's how they do
The
be
quote
doing
delivered in reference to how the creepers do
the creeping.
The creeping.
You know, honestly, if I could have $1 for how many times I've been creeped on by creepers, I think I'd be retired already.
Is this a Minecraft
I would have at
reference?
least $1.
At least several.
Yeah.
Several. But great quote. Looking forward to next week. Is this gonna be like a thing now?
It's gonna be a recurring thing. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
it's a recurring thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Thank
forward
you
to it.
to our viewers who encouraged.
We got a
me
viewer
to,
too that said that they liked the
Yeah,
quote.
yeah. They said.
Hey, see, I told you we listened to you guys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we like
So-
recurring things.
We like recurring things, i.e. the hats.
Yeah.
Will's down the hat, but that's all right.
Down a hat.
It's
No hat goes
It's with the cheetah.
such a
It
fit.
doesn't. It
But the
doesn't.
cheetah fit makes it worth
Yeah.
it. So
Facts.
it's
Mhm.
fine.
Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we get into it?
I don't know about how good this Terminator movie is, so I've been watching the Terminator movie that we have on
Yeah,
TV.
we do have a Terminator movie.
across from us right now.
Yeah, so if we look this way, it's because we're watching the Terminator.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. Terminator Salvation, great movie.
Stop.
Oh, Sam Worthington.
Wait, what's this one?
Stop
called?
it. This is like the one with like freaking Arnold's like 86. So it's the newest one. But like I said before, last week, we're doing grading. School's getting out, but we're going back into school.
Mhm.
We're giving out grades. We're giving out pass fails, you know, all the things that you need in this association of Coast to Coast World.
Uh-huh.
And we said we'd go alphabetical.
We did.
So AFC East first,
Uh-huh.
which is the Bills are going to go first, Dolphins are going to go second, Jets are going to go third, Pats are going to go fourth. And it's because we did, is it by New England Patriots or is it
no,
the
we did it by Bills, Dolphins,
Dolphins,
Jets.
Pats?
Yeah,
Okay.
BTJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. John, first grade you're going to give out. Bills, grade them. How'd they do?
Yep, so we'll start out with the Buffalo Bills. I think they just had an average draft, so I'm giving them a C+. They had a lot of picks in the draft. They had
I think they had 6, right?
4, 5, 6, 7. They had 8 picks.
Okay.
So more than average, and they didn't really draft anybody that grabbed my eye.
Mhm.
Just looking at this, James Cook, the running back out of Georgia, he didn't even lead his team in rushing yards, although, Georgia, the national
The
champions. So I think it was just a very okay draft for the Bills. Just added some depth to a really good team.
Mhm. Well, how do we feel about the draft? Do you agree with John's C? C plus?
I even want to go even a bit lower, and I'm going to give it a C minus. They did address with their first pick Kyrie Elam at cornerback, they needed one. So I like that selection. He has the traits to be a star in the NFL, and be that number one corner. But otherwise, it's a draft where I don't really see where they were going. It's like they were just using their picks to pick somebody. They had to pick some player. And a couple picks from non-traditional football schools, Villanova, San Diego State.
Boise State. I mean, they're not really like they are known. If you think
mid-major
Boise
power.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they're like a traditional football school. When you think of Boise State, yes, you do think of football, but I think honestly more of the blue turf than I do of the football team.
Yeah, that's
or the Statue of Liberty.
Well, I think of that whole Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, that was sick.
But so I'm gonna give it a C minus. Really, only one pick where I'm like, yeah, that was a good pick. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it feels very disjointed.
So I am actually going to split the difference, and I went with a C just because I felt like it was a very average draft for them. I feel like one of their biggest concerns this entire season that they had was strictly defense, right? I mean, yeah, their defense is, good for sure. Like, not going to take anything away from them. Like, they're not bad. Obviously, they made it to the AFC champion. Oh no, they didn't make it to the AFC champion. Yeah. They made it to the AFC. What's the second round? Is the divisional round? Yeah, and then they lost to the Chiefs in overtime, right? But the way I look at it is, you got points hung on you consistently by maybe some inferior teams, or like when it mattered most. Like the Titans put 34 on you. The Commanders put 21 on you. Not saying that's a lot, but it's not great. You lost to the Steelers, and they put 23 on you. Then you had other times where you had 33, then you only had 4. It's just like I feel like they needed more defensive-minded people. I mean, the Colts put 41 on you, and it wasn't even close in that game. And I feel like when you needed to add depth to your defense, especially when it becomes like a sprint at the end of the season when it comes to like playing the Chiefs, right? When you need your defense to step up and make a play, I feel like they don't have anybody on their defensive side of the ball where I'm like, that dude is an elite talent. He's definitely a game changer. When I think of Browns, I think, oh, you got Myles Garrett. When I think of the Rams, I'm like, oh, you got Jalen Ramsey. You got Aaron Donald. When I think of Colts, oh, you got Darius Leonard. Yeah. I feel like you can name almost an elite defender on a lot of teams, and I feel like the Bills just don't have necessarily. Like they're a good defense. They're not taking anything away from those guys.
And they did sign Von Miller this offseason.
So it's like now they added some to it. But I feel like when you look at this draft, to me, it should have been more defensive heavy than it was. I feel like just kind of all over the place. I mean, you got a cornerback, which Will thinks is a great pick, and I think it's a great pick as well. Then you go running back, then you go inside linebacker, but then you go wide receiver, punter, then you go cornerback out of Villanova, and then an offensive line and inside. So I feel like you should have just maybe focused more on either trading some of those picks away and getting deeper in certain positions. But not like a great draft, not blowing me away, but just felt like it was an okay. So you did C minus. No, you did C plus.
I did C plus.
You did C minus, and I did C. So average grade, C?
C.
Yeah. So average grade for the Bills, C. Moving on, going to those Dolphins. Fin up. We fin up around these parts.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't fin up, but we fin up.
Okay. So we fin up for the West Side Dolphins.
Yes, sir. Yes. The West Side Dolphins and St. Bridget Dolphins?
St.
Brendan Dolphins.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Dolphins, you want to go? Nah, I'll let you go last.
You'll let me go
last? I'll let you go last. Will, Dolphins, how do we feel?
Well, when you're looking at this draft, you have to remember the Dolphins spent their first, second, and fourth round picks on Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
So if you factor that in, still an incredibly unimpressive draft. they had league only 4 selections, 2 in the 7th round.
Yeah.
I don't see a whole lot of rookie production out of any of these 4 players.
Yeah.
Channing Tindall maybe could get into being a starting NFL linebacker. They nabbed him in 3rd round from Georgia, and we all remember how good that defense was. Mm-hmm. But still, even if I add Tyreek Hill as a 5th player to this, I can't give it higher than a C.
Yeah, you're going with a C. Just a flat C. Stick with your guns. Don't let me talk you out of it. Flat C.
I'm gonna bump down a C minus. It's gonna be a C minus. I think the Bills and the Dolphins, despite the massive difference in the number of players they got, both came out with nothing really there.
Equally okay. Yeah. I'll go. I'll go next. I am going to give it a D plus. A, for a few reasons. One, I get they got Tyreek Hill, and I guess you can count that as part of the draft. I necessarily didn't count it as part of the draft. It works kind of both ways, so I understand that. But Tyreek Hill's a freak of nature. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like since they traded all those picks away, they didn't build. I don't know. I wouldn't say they build towards the future of any positional spot in any of these places. I mean, they're just going to be a very average team. I feel like still, especially in their division. I mean, I still think it's going to be the Bills and the Pats division to lose, whether you have Tyreek Hill or not. But like you said, I feel like you can only get 4 picks, and they didn't pick necessarily one thing to go all in on. And it's just when you do the least amount of picks in the draft, and this is all you got from it, I just feel like it was very, very low. So I'm going to go D plus. John, why don't you bring us home here?
I'm giving them an F. I mean, this was
No F plus, no F minus, just straight
So
up.
you guys,
well,
I'm guessing
failing's failing. There is no F plus.
You're not counting Tyreek Hill
I am not,
as
no.
okay. See,
No.
my point of view, I am.
I am a little bit, but it's just that they don't have anything to build off of with these draft picks. Like, I just feel like none of these guys, I'm not saying that you're going to have somebody in the 7th round that's going to be like a steal and it's going to like light the world on fire.
Yeah, I think that
But-
happens all the time.
I get that, and I understand. I did factor the Tyreek Hill thing in. I just think they should have focused more on a quarterback, so I'm still failing them.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
Than a
John,
wide receiver.
I'll let you finish, but
Yeah.
I count it. So like I count the Tyreek Hill as part of that draft because, and I count it just like, Deshaun Watson to the Browns. Like
Yeah.
when I'm grading the Browns draft,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be factored into mine. But I see why someone wouldn't. But John, go ahead.
Yeah, so I believe it's an F. I mean, the linebacker out of Georgia, that's an okay pick, especially for the 3rd round. Like, the wide receiver they got out of Texas Tech, he's like probably the 20th receiver taken in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even really know this linebacker from Cal that they got. And then Skylar Thompson from Kansas State, who's never going to play it down in his life.
Yeah, probably not.
So it's just an F. It was just unimpressive. If I'm counting the Tyreek Hill trade, I mean, I'll give him a D.
Yeah,
C
I
minus.
counted it and I gave it D plus.
Yeah,
so.
but I'm not. I'm just gonna give them an F just because. I mean, if we're counting just the Deshaun Watson trade for the Browns, I'm counting that for like 20 years.
Yeah. The big reason I'm
or
giving
like
them an
4,
F, and maybe
but-
this might, weigh in on that, is obviously Tyreek Hill is good, but they did not improve defensively at all, and that's where they're the worst at. Like, they beat the teams that they probably should have beat last year just on raw talent, i.e., the Jets, Texans, Panthers, Giants, and Jets.
Well, see,
I mean, they stole a game from the Ravens, which is fine, but it's like when you played a good team that you're supposed to beat, they didn't. Bills 35-0, Raiders 31-28. Obviously, in it. Colts 21-17, Bucks 45-17. They lost to the Jags, then they lost to the Falcons, and then they lost to the Bills again. So it's just like I feel like maybe trading for Tyreek was. I'm saying that's more of a negative than it is a positive. Obviously, it's great to have a weapon on your team like that, but they should have been focusing on either a better quarterback or loading some form of their defense up. Like the Deshaun thing, when we get to them, just a little sneak peek, I'm going to give the Browns a good grade because the only place I felt like they were hurting was quarterback play. You have good wide receivers, and you have a great defense. Your special teams could be better, I guess, and you drafted a kicker, so, that's going to improve that. So getting Deshaun Watson, I think, is going to give you a better grade because that's where you're hurting. To me, the Dolphins are hurting in multiple areas, and just to go in on one person, I feel like doesn't help them. That's why I gave them a low grade.
And here's another thing about the Dolphins, and this doesn't really have to do with the draft class, but it has to do with the way they're constructing a roster.
Mm-hmm.
After the turmoil that's been going on in Miami, since the offseason with the Brian Flores and their owner, wanting to pay to lose and all of this stuff, it kind of would make sense from a roster building standpoint, from a culture standpoint. Let's get as many new faces in here as we can because there's clearly
Something going on.
And they come out of the draft with 4 players, 2 of which will probably not make the team.
Mm-hmm. So that's just another thing the way I look at it. I don't know if that influenced or not, but F, D plus, C minus, overall score D minus. So average score there, D minus to D in that range. So moving on to our next team, the New Jersey Jets. I will not call them New York Jets.
That is
because
where they play.
Do not play in New York. So the New Jersey Jets, we're grading them right now. John, I'll let you go first. No, I'll go first.
Okay.
You went first.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
first.
we'll-
Go
yeah,
first.
we'll
Go
go-
first.
we'll go to Super Bowl.
I'm gonna go B plus. Actually,
Okay.
I think they had a great draft. They're not gonna get a quarterback. Why would they? Basically, you're wasting Zach Wilson. So I don't know how good Zach Wilson is. He almost broke the record for most interceptions. So I don't necessarily think he's bad. There's too much question marks around him. I'm not gonna sell a guy down the river off of one season, especially when your team's terrible. So I'm not gonna do that. But looking at the Jets, you go strictly filling in on spots that are key, right? You go cornerback. They definitely needed depth at the cornerback safety position. So that's your first pick in the number 4 pick overall, first round. Great. Then you go and get yourself a stud wide receiver that has a lot of potential to be one of the best wide receivers out of this draft class. Great. Love that. You now have Zach Wilson, now has somebody to throw to consistently. And then you go defense, offense again, and then offense, and then defense. So I feel like there are more questions were about their offense than it was for defense because, yes, they're giving up a lot of points, but they're not even competing. When you look at some of their scores, 14-19, they lost to the Panthers. You're telling me you don't have Garrett Wilson or even Sauce Gardner or a good offensive guy to throw to outside of whoever they were throwing to, lawn chairs, essentially. I mean, they put up 30 points against the Colts on Monday Night Football. They still lost, but they're not struggling to score. They beat the Bengals 34-31. So the offense isn't the issue. The defense definitely is, and I feel like they answered a potential big hole for that with Sauce and the DN out of Florida State as well. So I'm going to give them a B plus for that. Still room for improvement, but we'll really see how this year pans out. John, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'll give them an A minus. I thought they had a really good draft this year. Like you said, they really needed help at the cornerback position. Sauce Gardner's going to do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson, I think, will be the best receiver in this draft class. Bryce Hall, kind of an underrated running back in my opinion. I thought he had a good career at Iowa State.
Big agree.
Big agree. I like that, Eric.
Big agree. Love that.
Yep. Jeremy Ruckert, he had his bad moments at Ohio State, but I do think he's a good athlete, and with some good coaching, I think could be a better pro than his career at Ohio State. I thought they just had a good draft. They didn't have a lot of late round picks, but they had a lot of high round picks. So I'm gonna
And I
give
feel like
them.
they cashed in on those.
Yeah, and I thought I don't really see one where it's like, ooh, that's kind of a bad pick. I thought they kind of drafted pretty solidly. I'll give them an A minus.
A minus, Will?
Does this show do A pluses?
Yes.
We'll do an A plus.
We do A pluses. We do all the pluses.
Because Jets are getting an A plus from me.
A plus from
A
you.
plus from me. I love this draft. 7, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks in the first 120.
Yeah.
That is
Insane.
incredible. Absolutely nailed the first one. Sauce Gardner. He's Richard Sherman, 2.0.
Yeah. Definitely has a ceiling for it.
Garrett Wilson nailed it. I agree. Best wide receiver in the class. Jermaine Johnson is a really, really good pick at 26. I think he is going to step in on their defense, and him and Sauce Gardner playing together. That defense does already have some good talent.
Yeah. Williams, right?
yeah.
Quentin Williams.
That was the trade with the to draft in front of the Ravens, right?
Fact check that one on me.
Yeah.
Go on.
Running back from Iowa State, best running back in the class. Fight me on it.
Dying on that hill?
Yeah, I'm down on that hill. And then Ruckert, Mitchell, and Clemens, their last 3 picks are all kind of plug and play guys. They're not going to light the world on fire, but they should be in the league for,
5-6 years.
they should get a second deal, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I think they have the talent to get a second deal and play for like 8 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
Definitely gonna have
Healthy
a
career.
successful.
Yeah, make some money. They're no Hall of Famers, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, who
I'll
knows?
give it an A plus.
Who knows? He could be the next
I was
Aaron
thinking-
Hernandez.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Maybe Jeremy Ruckert will
And
be the next Aaron Hernandez.
barring all the criminal
Yeah,
activity.
yeah, of course.
But
I was thinking of Jordan Davis.
so you go A minus.
Yeah.
I go B plus. You go A plus.
I go A plus.
I think that's an overall score of an A.
yeah.
That's an
I
A.
think that's an A. So good job for the Jets.
Yeah.
First
Shout out to
A.
Jets.
First A we've given out.
Yeah.
Now
More to come.
I've seen a lot of people on the internet. Have you heard of that?
Are
on
you-
the internet?
Are you on the interwebs?
I am on the internet. I'm tapped in.
Okay. Lay it on me.
People are saying the Jets sleeper team
For
this
the AFC East or just
yeah.
in general?
Well, I don't know, to compete in the AFC East and get a playoff spot.
See, I think
Yeah, the
a
AFC
lot of
too
that.
deep.
I don't care about the AFC. I think a lot of it has to really depend on Zach Wilson.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the team is
obviously-
going to live and die by him. And here's the thing: if he doesn't work next year, then they can just they'll move
They'll
on.
move on.
They'll figure out what they're going to do after that.
And it's supposed to be a good QB draft next year
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
So
could be
so
Stroud's coming in.
Stroud and Young.
Stroud, Young,
there's-
on that boy from fuck. Damn it, what's his name?
The Oklahoma guy.
You got Spencer
Yeah.
Rattler.
Spencer
You
Rattler,
got-
he should be the number
Nah,
one.
he's
overall.
not Oklahoma anymore.
or
He's
no,
go
he's
go
up there.
Gamecocks.
Yeah.
Go Gamecocks.
Go Cox, baby.
I have his autograph.
You're
card, no big
thinking
deal.
of what? Oh shoot, no.
You'll find it. Find it for me.
It's,
All right.
he
So
transferred to USC.
yes, thank you. Oh, Williams, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb.
Yes,
Williams. I don't know
Jesus,
why
thank
I
you.
blanked on his name.
I couldn't either. I almost said Texas. I was like, that's not right.
Well, that's
but
yours.
so overall, great draft for the Jets. The interwebs saying sleeper king. I'll be interested to see it. But moving on to our final team, smartest coach ever, arguably, does a lot of great things. Pats.
I was gonna say
the New
Jim
England-
Brown's dead.
The New England Pats, the New England Patriots, the Tom Brady way, the Bill Belichick way, the dog making a draft meme. The New England Patriots, what do we like? Let's give them an overall grade. John, lay it on me first.
I thought they had a solid draft. They reached for a couple guys, I thought, but overall, like their guys they could have got later, they probably still would have drafted them. I'll give them a B plus.
B plus.
A little high maybe, but I mean, Bailey Zappi is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Western Kentucky Hilltopper legend, had the most passing yards ever. But I mean, they had an okay draft. Nothing crazy here. They just had a lot of picks. So I'm just gonna give them like a kind of a middle of the road B plus.
I respect that. Will?
I think that's way too high.
No, really.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a C plus.
A C plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole Strange, massive reach, from Chattanooga at 29. Tyquan Thornton, I like the pick at 50. I think Mac Jones needs weapons, so throw him one in the second round. I think that might end up being a pretty good pick. Taking a QB in the fourth round when you don't need one doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
Right. Last pick of the fourth round.
Yeah. Okay. Fourth, fifth round, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out Bailey Zappi.
And shout out to a homie.
Shout out to our
Repped
guy.
it for the Hilltoppers, but I mean, I don't care for this draft at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they didn't do enough to transform that offense to help Mac Jones take it to the next level.
Mhm.
And I think that is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Will, more than I am yours. I'm gonna go C plus as well. I feel like they did draft a lot of guys out of non-traditional sports schools and football schools.
Yeah.
I mean, Chattanooga, it's fine. Like if they think he's gonna be it, that's great. Like I'm not judging that. But then you also go Houston, then you go Arizona State, then South Dakota State, then Western Kentucky, then Northwest Missouri State. So it's like I just feel like I don't know if these guys know how to play, at that NFL level. I mean, we'll see. I'm not saying even though the first round pick guys, any of them, Sauce Gardner may get toasted to be the worst cornerback ever drafted. So it obviously goes in ebbs and flows, but I feel like their draft just was very average. I think they should have gone more offensive friendly than they should have gone defensive. I'm just seeing right now you go cornerback, D tackle, and then you go a lot of guard play. So I feel like that weapon aspect is being definitely missed. You only get, two weapons essentially, or three with two running backs and a wide receiver.
Taking two running backs.
Yeah.
Is it 1965?
We running a power eye offense
Yeah.
here.
How many running
I
backs do we
wish.
need on the roster?
Can we bring the power eye back?
So I feel like that was kind of like my hit and miss. I think they should have gone offensive more than they should have gone positional players, guards, and defense as well. So I'm giving just that C-. I'll give them a B- because I'm sure Bill Belichick will find a way to make this work. But you go B+, I go B-, you go C+. Overall score, B. B's for the Pats, let us know if you guys like those scores, what you think. If you think we're right, wrong, or indifferent, feel free to comment off. I'm sure we'll post a clip of this, get some interaction, vote on some Twitter, see what we like about it, what we don't like. But overall scores for the entirety goes C for the Bills, D, I said for the Finns, right? D, right? D minus?
Yeah, it was D because I
D.
gave them an F. Yeah.
And then Jets, we gave an A. And then for the Pats, we gave a B minus, right? No, B, just a flat out B.
Just a B.
So we'll get those out. We'll let you guys decide with us whether you agree with us, disagree with us. But that's kind of how we feel. Next week, we're doing what? The AFC
The AFC North.
North. The Old Faithful.
The old faith.
The Old Faithful. That will be an interesting one.
Some might say the best division in football.
Arguably.
Some might
Definitely
say.
arguably.
I
would
wouldn't
say
say it, but some might.
I might say that. But
Some
we'll
people
see.
are saying.
Yeah.
Some people
We'll
are
see.
I heard
We'll
on the
see.
internet, so it's got to be true.
Oh, yeah, they're tapped in. You're tapped in.
The internet's tapped in.
So moving on to our next segment, moving to that NBA action.
Oh.
And as you can see, we have made an adjustment to the board. I don't know if you can see it as well
Yeah,
because it's in green. Probably should have wrote it in black.
probably.
But the playoffs in the second round is still underway, and now they're in the meat of all of it. So you got the Suns and Mavericks split at 2 games apiece. Then you got the Warriors and Grizzlies. Warriors taking a commanding 3-1 lead, even though the Grizzlies have basically been in every single game. I mean, they were a layup away almost from losing that first one, beating the Warriors in that first one. So they're losing 3-1 now to the Warriors. Then in the East, you have 2 games apiece for the Celtics-Bucks. Great game last night. Giannis popped off, didn't do enough. Same thing with Al Horford. Al Horford did pop off, kind of turned back the clock, dropped a 30-piece, and did a phenomenal job. And then you got the Heat Sixers also split at 2 games apiece. Great series there. I think this is honestly some of the best playoff basketball we've seen in, I don't even know when. The past, I feel like when LeBron was in the East, it was just sweep, 7-game series out. LeBron's in the finals now. And then the West, it was Warriors. Everybody else is playing for second place. So I feel like this is definitely the best playoff series we've seen in I don't even know how long. I mean, is that a reach? Am I crazy in thinking that? What do we like about the playoffs so far?
I think you're totally on the money. I think it's like every game is back and forth. There's off the court storylines. There's there's chirping. There's some physicality.
Breaking
in
the code.
game. Yeah. Some people breaking the code.
We'll get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the best playoffs that I can remember. I wasn't really watching that much NBA when Kobe and Shaq were doing their thing. But I mean, I think this is one of the best playoffs I can remember. Just because, the last like 10 years just been LeBron eating up everybody in the East.
And then meeting the Warriors in the finals.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, looking at all the series, sure there weren't any real upsets in the first round, but a lot of these second round games are real close, and a lot of these teams haven't really won in a while either. Obviously the Bucks just won, but I mean the Heat without LeBron haven't won since 2006. The Mavericks won in 2011, I think.
Only time they've ever won.
But and then outside of that, everyone really hasn't won in a while.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the Warriors.
Suns haven't won ever.
Suns have never
won.
won.
Suns most successful playoff NBA team that has never won a title.
Oh, really?
I believe that.
They have won the most
games in the playoffs
without having winning a title.
Now, have the Hawks ever won?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
so
that makes sense.
Then you also have the Celtics who haven't won since 2008.
Yeah.
With Kevin Garnett.
KG,
the boys.
One title in the last 30
Sixers
years.
haven't won since the 80s.
And Sixers, I don't think have won since J. Irving was there,
It was the
right?
80s, yeah, it was like 84, I think.
Moses Malone. And they haven't even been to the finals since 2001, I'm pretty sure, with AI. And they got
yeah.
swept by the
Correct.
Lakers. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Obviously, the Warriors won a shit ton. And
83
they're,
was last year the Sixers won.
they're still around. So, Warriors can't obviously speak to that. And same thing with the Bucks. Those are about the only two consistencies there. So, it's definitely a really good playoff. Let's dive into kind of each series. Do you want to start West or East first?
Let's go with West first.
West first. Let's jump into it. Suns, Mavs. What do we like about these series so far? Who do we think is going to come out of that? Like, what do we like here?
Well, I just gotta say, the tone has totally flipped since the last time we met on this series.
Yeah.
I mean, Finney Smith for the Mavericks has been on a tear. He's been
that guy.
Yeah, he's been that guy, and they don't need Spencer Dinwiddie to drop 25 every game
Yeah.
because he's just been stepping up and getting it done. And Brunson has also been getting it done. The bigger story here, the last 2 games though, is
Say it.
where did Chris Paul go?
Thank you.
Where did he go? I know, he had 6 fouls, so maybe some of them weren't good fouls. You played 3 quarters,
Yeah.
and you had 5 points.
And I think 6 turnovers or some shit.
Yeah, 6 turnovers. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Paul is definitely the biggest question mark of that entire series now.
Yeah.
One thing that, I thought was more interesting is the less points Luka Doncic drops, the better the Mavs do. And I don't know if that's just because Luka's maybe in the game 1 and game 2 is just taking over and like trying to do too much, maybe. But I also think it's one of those ones where when you're forcing those other guys to play well, Finney, Brunson, Dinwiddie, when you have these guys that are actually putting up points, then makes your job become so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so funny that when Luka doesn't drop 40 and then like 35 or whatever he dropped in game 1, they're winning. And they're winning in not commanding fashion, but pretty well. So what's your big takeaway here too?
I mean, yeah, it's where is Chris Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, 23 minutes, 5 points. That's wild.
And fouled out. I can't tell you the last time I saw somebody foul out. I mean, I feel like this playoff has been really bad refereeing, in my opinion. Just a little preview to the Heat Sixers.
Ooh, okay.
I
every
wonder who we think is getting the raw end of the stick there.
The Sixers had a guy foul out, had Tobias Harris foul out on Friday, and we had Max Strus foul out, and PJ was in 4 or 5 fouls. James Harden was 4 and 5 fouls. Like, I've never seen so many players be in the 4 or 5 foul range in so long. When I went to the game Friday, tapped in.
He was tapped in.
We got crushed. When I was at the game Friday, there was 55 fouls called.
Well,
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I did feel really bad for you driving 7 hours.
I
for
think.
And it was 9 hours.
Well,
It was
so,
pouring.
See, I'm gonna push back a little bit because these playoffs have been some of the most physical we've seen.
For sure.
And maybe it's an issue with the refs kind of losing control of the game, and they're kind of like, oh, we gotta start calling fouls because these guys are going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a little bit on the refs. I don't think the refs are calling a lot of like bad fouls, like that was a really weak foul. I think they're losing control of the games, and then now they got to start calling everything, or else all hell's gonna break loose. So still kind of the refs' fault, but for a different reason.
Yeah, I just think there's been a stupid amount of fouls called in these past, at least in the Heat Sixers, I know for a fact, 55 in one game, and then you had 2 people foul out in the next game. It's just, to me, it's just very, very wildly inconsistent. So, Chris Paul definitely being MIA, I think is the biggest storyline. I think Luka is obviously playing incredibly well. But other than that, I mean, that series is going to be a lot of fun. I think the big piece is here is who's going to win this next game. Because most of the other series, whoever wins the next game, I think could still go to Game 7 or, still flip in one favor. But I think that's going to be the biggest. Do the Suns physically implode because they lose 3 in a row when they've never lost 3 in a row this entire season? And especially with how good their away record was. And now it's kind of, I could just see them blowing up in their face.
And, I agree. And I think this Mavericks team as a whole is playing really, really well right now. But also, it speaks to, 1, how good the Mavericks are playing, and 2, the impact that Luka the Don has on the court when he can score 26 points on 25 shots, go 1 for 10 from 3, and still drop 11 assists, and his team wins by 11.
Yeah.
It speaks to his impact. He was plus 14, and he was 1 for 10 from 3-point.
Right.
I mean, that's not really how that's supposed to work. It speaks to how well this Mavericks team is playing and his impact on the court.
Yeah, and I completely agree. But moving to the next one.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead.
The one that I feel like
Go right ahead.
seems to be lopsided is the Warriors and the Grizz. And the reason I say lopsided, and I'll go first, is I feel like the Grizzlies should be leading this series either 3-1 or 2-2. They were a missed layup away from beating the Warriors in Game 1. I
heard there was a carry on that play.
They're on jaw.
Yeah.
Maybe.
On job.
Maybe.
There's also a carry every single play.
Yeah, there's a carry every play, in my opinion, as well, with how they dribble. But this series, I think, definitely is a lot closer than the 3-1 looks. The fact that the Grizzlies were in that game basically to the very end without John Morant just goes to show how deep the Grizzlies are, and that, maybe goes to show how good their coach is as well.
Yeah.
But they're now probably going to lose. They're probably going to get bounced.
Mm-hmm.
Ja's looking doubtful for the rest of the year
Mm-hmm.
with a bruised knee, something in his bone or whatever. So I think the Warriors are probably still going to win it. And I think, to me, the biggest story of this series, and I'm favoring the Warriors coming out of it, is still Jordan Poole. I mean, that dude is doing everything that he can. And he's, to me, the second scoring option for the Warriors now. It's not Klay Thompson anymore. I love Klay Thompson. I think he's a great player, or was a great player, and was a great defender. He's obviously not the great defender he used to be. But the fact that guy is coming off the bench, still giving you buckets, and still providing that spark and energy and making meaningful plays consistently for a team that's veteran loaded, just goes to show how good he is and how good the Warriors got a steal basically out of him. So that's my biggest takeaway. What's your biggest takeaway?
I mean, it's just been one of the better series, I think, even despite the 3-1 lead. It's a lot of close games. Game 3 was the only one that was really a blowout in the Warriors' favor. But like you said, Jordan Poole, he's been a great guy off the bench there. He's done a lot for the scoring, especially in these close games. That's crucial. I mean, it sucks, John Morant getting injured. Clearly, we know that the Warriors are capable of blowing 3-1 leads, but not this time. It's just
And that's a callback. That's called a callback right there. In case you don't know, the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I believe it was the Cavaliers.
I think it was the Cavs. I think LeBron was on that and had one of the best playoff runs ever.
I think Kyrie was somehow involved in the winning
in the
of that
end,
series.
and I think Kevin Love's shoulder stayed intact.
Wait, was Matthew Dellavedova on that team?
Matthew.
Let me look this up live.
Let's go ahead, do me a favor. Just do a stack. Ryan, fact check me for there.
Yeah, I got you.
We appreciate you. But Will, while Ryan's looking that up, your takeaway from these Grizz Warriors?
My takeaway is one.
Oh, the Warriors.
Ah.
They blew through.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we were right?
You were.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Just making sure. Thank you. Had to clear that up. Appreciate it.
I think this is really I'm gonna say Jordan Poole, he is a star in the making if he's not already one. I'm not sure what his contract situation is, but
He signed an extension, I believe,
Oh,
for
really?
$80 million, three years or something like that. I believe.
How old is he?
Ryan, John, check that.
I don't know. Maybe should have held out. Could have got some supermax money.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think really, game 4 was really, it was make or break. I know for the Grizzlies. Yeah, Ja was out. Grizzlies are still a good team. Their head coach is seemingly incredible. And it was make or break. They were right there. They really should have won. I don't know why when the Grizzlies were up 1 with like a minute left in the game, and Dylan Brooks shot a fadeaway 3-pointer. That was not a good shot. That was not a good shot.
Yeah, you could have potentially gotten a little bit of a better look.
Yeah, or drawn a foul or something. I digress. That game they battled to the end, and I think that taking that L took away the life. And my guess is game 5 is Warriors handedly win.
Blowout fashion.
Maybe not blowout fashion, but wire to wire. It was never in doubt.
See, I think it's blowout fashion. I think they'll win, not necessarily blowout in the sense that they're down by 30 the entire game. I'm saying I bet it's a 15-point win for the Warriors. I agree. I think it definitely takes the wind out of their sails. Yeah. The only good thing that the Grizz have is that they're just so young, so maybe they don't have that beaten spirit yet. Maybe oh fuck it, we can come back. Not that big a deal. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So the Warriors have Jordan Poole locked up for next year. He'll become a restricted free agent in 2023.
Okay, that's what I thought. Moving to the East. Celtics Bucks. This might be the best series of them all. Has the distance to go 7 games, and the fact the Bucks that are still playing so well without their second scoring option, and the fact that the Celtics have played just grit basketball and has been going hand in hand. Because I don't even know at this point who the fuck the better team is. I said the Celtics I think were gonna win, and I thought they were the better team, but is Giannis really just that good? You know what I mean? Is he just that good to where he's like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking take this whole thing over and just fucking win? I guess, because that's what it's looking like. But some takeaways from the Celtics Bucks. What do you got?
So this is the series I said that would be the best, and it's looking like it. I mean, it's just been back and forth. This past game 4 was incredible. It really could have gone either way. I'm kind of favoring the Celtics. I do think that they will pull out, but I could be wrong.
Pull-out game strong.
Yes.
Their pullout game is strong. Their move on game is strong,
Yes.
and I think the Celtics have a good chance of moving on here. But just it's been a lot of fun watching people react to foul calls. This has kind of been one of the more passionate series, like just scrolling through Twitter, just seeing what people will say. So it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed this series. I'm excited to see how it finishes. But I think the Celtics will eventually pull out.
It pains me
Pains you.
that I think the Celtics are going to win this series because I do not like the Celtics. I'm not shy about that fact.
Yes. You will die on that hill.
I will die.
Sorry, Ben Gabreu.
Yeah. And, you know,
And,
after game 1,
Kobe.
Kobe, yeah.
after game 1 of this series, I thought, oh, Bucks got it in the bag.
Yeah.
Bucks are playing. They got that dog in them.
But that game 2.
That game 2 came and smacked that dream right down, and now these last 2 games have been
Splits,
bats.
yeah.
I think this will go the distance, but I think game 5 is a must-win for the Bucks in Boston. Boston has 2 games at home. Milwaukee only has 1. That's my only
take?
That's my take. I do not. I know I got Giannis. Even if I have Giannis, I do not want to have to go into Boston for a game 7 winner take all and play that crowd and play that defense that the Celtics are going to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is so hard. I was flipping back and forth. I'll go opposite of what you guys. I'm gonna take the Bucks just because Giannis is that guy, and I think Drew Holiday is the X factor. Every time he guards somebody, that person has a terrible game. He guarded Jason Tatum most of the time. In game 3, Jason Tatum had 10 points. And I feel like he guarded Brown a majority of the game and split. Obviously, he splits. He goes wherever. But I think the biggest case is just the Bucks need to have that bench and need to have some other scoring from just other people other than Giannis and Drew Holiday. With that being said, the Celtics are obviously deeper. They have a full healthy roster. I just don't think, and the reason I'm taking the Bucks is I don't think you're going to see Al Horford and Robert Williams have the games that they had last game. I mean, Al Horford turning the clock back, dropping 30. I just don't think will happen again.
Dude,
so,
I mean, Al Horford, game 4 had 22.
yeah.
The story of the series is that somehow
It's got a putter.
the Bucks interior defense cannot guard 35-year-old Al Horford for the life of them.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah, so I think I think that the adjustments will be made. They kind of took him lightly in the first 2 games. Now the next 2 games, when you get 22 and then you get 30, I mean, come on, you got to start thinking, all right, there's something here. So I think that the adjustments were made, and I'm going to take the Bucks over the Celtics in 7 as well, and they're gonna do it in the Garden, I believe. They have to if it goes.
Well,
that
yeah,
way. They have to.
they would have to do that.
It'll be a great game. I think it'll be fun.
Pfizer Forum, isn't that what it's called?
Yes. So I think this is definitely the series that could go the distance, and it should be a fun one. But let's move to the last series, the one that I'm more emotionally invested in than anybody because my team's still in the playoffs and they're still playing. Heat versus Sixers, also 2 games apiece. Who do we like? What do you think the big storyline is out of all this? What do we like here?
I mean, this series is tough. Obviously, people beat it to the ground. Joel Embiid's back.
Yes.
Don't know if you heard that. Harrison.
Don't know if you've heard.
Don't know.
back.
He's back.
So
He's been
he's
playing.
back, and the Sixers have won the last 2. They kind of got the hot hand right now. I don't want to go against your Heat, but I'm going to go against your Heat. I do think the Sixers come out of this. I think they have the hot hand right now.
In 6, 7?
I'll say it goes to distance.
Okay.
I'll say it goes to distance. I'll say it goes 7.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if this Heat can win another game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I mean,
You could see it going 6, no doubt.
I can see the Sixers winning in 6.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that, Harrison.
All right. Go
Wow.
on, Will.
Wow. Okay, first of all, game 5, this game 5 is the most important game of the series.
Of this series or of all the series?
Honestly,
Maybe not Suns math.
It's so hard. This is such a good playoff.
All I'm saying is, if the Sixers, same thing I said about the Bucks and the Celtics. I love the Heat here and in this game tonight, and if the Heat win, maybe it goes 7, maybe it goes 6. But the Heat are coming out with it. I know the Heat played so bad in Game 4. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were basically the only two people who showed up.
Yes.
But the Heat are never gonna. They're not gonna shoot that bad at home, and I think they're good. They just lost 2 in a row. They're gonna get that dog back in them, and they're gonna win this Game 5. And depending on how it goes, depending on what I see on the court, I'll be able to assess if the Sixers can take it to 7. But yeah, I just think if the Heat play like they did in Game 4, the series is over in 6. Because, when Jimmy Butler's giving you 40, Bam's giving you 21, and then the rest of your starting lineup gives you 6, 6, and 7, yeah, that's not a winning recipe. Not a winning recipe.
Definitely not.
Especially when the 76ers came into Game 4 and they dropped 18, 31, 24, 13, 11, and 10. They need...
I know. Trust me.
Yeah.
I know what they did.
He need to throw that Game 4 behind him and move on today. If they get their mojo back today, I think it could be over in 6.
For the Heat, if they get back today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I got a few big takeaways. Obviously, like I said, I'm more emotionally invested in this than anybody else. So the way I look at it, it's definitely a story. It's definitely a tale of two road trips. Sixers couldn't shoot worth shit. Were kind of irrelevant. Obviously, they didn't have their best player on their team, so maybe that's why they couldn't shoot worth shit, because they just were getting locked up everywhere else. Fine, cool, whatever. Makes sense. First 2 games. Then we go to Philly. Danny Green makes 7 threes on 9 attempts and drops 21, was their leading scorer. When the fuck has Danny Green ever done that since he was with the Spurs?
I think he had a good game on the Raptors.
Yes. So you get what I'm
He
saying?
had one.
He was getting booed by Laker Nation on Twitter against the Heat, saying, stop fucking playing this guy. He's so bad. When you have him dropping more he had the same amount of threes than the Heat had the entire game. He had 7 threes. He had 7 threes. The basic thing that I'm taking away from this Heat Sixers is just how well the Sixers are shooting. And it's not like they're shooting well. They're shooting fucking unconscious. Name the last time you've seen a team shoot back-to-back games, whether it be home or away, 50% from 3. I can't name it. I can't even think of one.
Series where the
I don't know.
Cavs
One time the Cavs hit like 28
yeah, threes, yeah. So that's one. But did they follow that up with another 50% shooting night from 3?
I know they won the next game.
I don't
need it, right?
I don't have the numbers. You
don't
didn't
have
put
the
this on the
numbers.
sheet.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the sheet.
Put it on the call sheet.
So then you go, okay, fine. And they also shot 50% from the field. Great, whatever. Joel Embiid wasn't even their best player that night. I mean, he just wasn't. Okay, then you go Game 4. Like, all right, we got crushed. We lost by 20 Game 3. Game 4, we scored 108 points, and I believe they scored 116, or somewhere in that range. We lost by 8. We made 7 threes. We made like 8 or 9 threes. Terrible. We lost by 8.
7 for 35. You shot
7 threes.
20% from 3.
We shot 20% from 3. You know what the Sixers shot? 50% from 3. You know what they shot from the field? 60%. I love the Heat and I love anything, but you can't give me any team on the board in the playoffs, or even that didn't make the playoffs, that I don't care how good you are or how good your defense is. When somebody's shooting 50% from 3 and 60% from the field, you're not winning that game. And I will die on that hill.
I'm pushing back on that hill.
Unless it's like 50%, like it's like they're 3 for, or they're like 1 for 2.
No, I gotta push back on that hill for Game 4. Game 5, yeah, you got swamped.
Right.
Game 4,
we were down by 3 going into the 4th quarter.
Game 4, if the Heat don't go 7 for 35 from 3,
Right.
they win the game. So it
100%.
doesn't matter.
100%. I don't disagree with that
I'm
either.
just
But if
saying-
they shoot a normal league average of 35 to 30% from the 3,
Control what you can control.
100%.
Control what you can control.
We can control what we control. Did you
Listen,
see
you got 6th man of the year, Tyler Hero, going 1 for 5 from 3.
He's not the only one.
Victor Oladipo,
All of them
1
went
for
1
5.
for something.
Dave
from the
Vincent,
3.
0 for 4.
Did you guys see the Reds won 2 in a row?
I did see the Reds.
The thing is,
But in
you
the
did not.
series,
Yeah.
but the biggest thing I want to bring up is it's not the fact that, yes, we can control what we want to control, right? They're not falling. We still scored 108 points off of making 7 threes. That's impressive in itself, in my opinion. But the thing is, the threes that they were making are just unconscious. James Harden is making step-back threes like he's in Houston again, 35-footers with somebody in his face, and it's nothing but net. That's what you can control. You can control playing good defense and making the shots tough. That is what you can control as well. I understand making your shots, and I think that's definitely a huge part of it. If we just make 4 more threes and shoot, 22% from 3, 23% from 3, we probably win that game, 100%. But the thing is, when you play lockdown defense and you actually play good defense and they're just making them, that's not something you can control at that point. That's just, hey, it's falling their way this night.
Now, I will admit, I'm not as tapped in as you on the Miami Heat, story mill. Why does Duncan Robinson not play? Because I believe he is pretty good at shooting threes.
He is what you would call a very good. He's honestly what you'd call a sharp shooter.
And he does not play at all. He gets a lot of DNPs. You know what that
healthy
did not play.
Healthy DNP.
Yes, yeah. So, do you have anything there for us?
The only thing I can give you, the only thing I can give you, logically speaking, and from what what I see and what the stats are, right, is Max Strus starts in front of Duncan Robinson. I don't know if Duncan's starting tonight. I haven't gotten the update yet, or I haven't checked it because we've been doing the pod. But Max Strus he probably's gone down a bit, the second highest plus minus in all of NBA playoffs behind Giannis.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So that's why he was playing there. Then you just look at it, it's like, okay, we get through the Hawks series pretty handily. Then we go 2 games up on the Sixers pretty handily in both fashions. The way I look at it is not, he should be playing. It's the way we're winning and how we're winning is working. Why change something now? Mm-hmm. Now you've gotten pushed back. Now it's split 2 suits. Something should change. Something should have to change, right? So now I wouldn't be surprised if, Duncan either starts or he gets his minutes tonight, especially since Kyle Lowry's out. Kyle Lowry's been ruled out for this game. So I think a lot of it just depends on, how you look at it. And just as well as I do, playoffs, if your superstar's averaging 30 to 28 minutes a game in this regular season, now it's bumped up to 36, 30, 38, right? And your players that are averaging, 15 to 20 minutes are dropping
to 10
minutes, right? Duncan's was averaging like 25 minutes, 20 minutes. So he's averaging a lot of minutes, and now he's not getting no playing time. It seems like a shock. But at the end of the day, he is a defensive liability. That's no question. And I'm assuming Eric Spoelstra feels that having him on the court, maybe you're just basically giving free buckets away or you're trading buckets. And I think at the end of the day, sometimes you have to live with that and, see how it is and see what it changes. And we were winning, and the way that the Heat were winning was working. I don't necessarily know why fix it or go against it, but I feel like something definitely needs to change tonight. I think if Duncan doesn't log a single minute tonight, it'll definitely be a question to be had. And these are just obviously answers I don't have. I'm just giving you my best guess.
See, honestly, you want my honest opinion?
And still, even then, I know that we shot terrible in Game 3 and Game 4, but we were in both of those games until the very end. Game 3, we were down 2 or 3 going into the fourth quarter, right? And then Game 4, we were basically in it other than the last 2 minutes of the game. So it's not like he's not playing and we're getting blown out from minute 2, and it's like, he's just not playing. Coach is probably pissed at him. I don't think that's the case.
My honest opinion, these games have been closer than some of the box scores indicate. Mm-hmm. All of them have. But when you tell me we can't play Duncan Robinson because he's a defensive liability, that's on Eric Spoelstra if he can't hide him defensively. Mm-hmm. He needs to be able to find the spots where your best, arguably your best 3-point shooter can play, get some shots up, score 9 or 12 points at least, mm-hmm. without having him, just get dunked on, the whole time. Like calling someone a defensive liability, because the Cavs played Kevin Love when he was a defensive liability. You can hide your bad defensive players, especially when you have Jimmy Butler, great defender. You have Bam Adebayo, snubbed defensive player of the year. Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry, who's injured, but good defender. You have a good defensive core. We can't get Duncan Robinson in for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I disagree with
Trust me, I'm with you. I'm with you there too. I'm just telling you what I think and what I'm assessing.
Yeah. I figured it was defense, but
Like I said, at the end of the day, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If the Cavs won 12 games in a row and didn't play Kevin Love a single minute, I feel like most people would be like, why the fuck isn't Kevin Love playing? It's like, well, we just swept all through the entire East without him playing a single minute. Let's not freak out yet. There's a reason we're winning. So I think that'll be it, but that would be interesting. It'll be interesting. And obviously next week, we'll have a better gauge. Maybe the Heat are bounced. Maybe the Sixers are bounced. Maybe there's some Game 7s. Who knows? We'll see.
Ooh, can we get a Game 7?
I hope.
Can we get a Game 7?
I'm hoping I see 3 Game 7s.
I want 3 Game 7s.
Can I get 4 Game 7s?
Don't say it out
Don't
loud.
tease me.
Don't say it out loud.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me. Don't get me bricked up right now. But that basically ends our talk on the NBA. We'll let you guys know how they've done, how we think we went, and everything in between. And just to do a little quick recap before we get into Ryan's 2-minute draw, let him get set up. All the awards are officially out. Well, the MVP hasn't been officially named. It's snuck out.
Rightfully, the rightful
owner. Rightful owner.
Yes.
And I just want to say, I'm sick and tired of everybody being like, no, if they include the playoffs, why? Why include the playoffs? If the person that's the best player didn't make the playoffs or got bounced, that's not his fault. Jokic was dropping buckets.
Yeah.
They just lost.
Literally the best statistical season of all time.
Right. So Jokic won MVP, so we got those right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I think we all agreed on that.
We got 6 man of the year, right, Tyler Hero? We got all that right. You said Kevin Love, but
let's be honest, we know the real one.
We knew it was Tyler Hero. Coach of the year went to Monty Williams.
My pick.
Which is terrible pick in my opinion. Terrible pick.
Oh no, I picked
the fact that Jason Kidd got 0 first place votes blows me away too. Just saying. Then you go. The reason I was so stuck on Monty is because Monty was a 1 seed and went to the NBA Finals last year. How can you do better than that? The Heat were not a 1 seed, got swept. All right, cool. So then we go to 1 seed with most of our core not playing the entire season, or missing a lot of games. Or look at the Grizzlies coach. Their team was terrible last year, and now they're a 2 seed. Now they're about to get bounced, but they're still a 2 seed, and they did significantly better. To me, a lot of it shouldn't necessarily depend on, what your team's recent. Obviously, Suns have the best record, best away record too. They're a great fucking team, but I don't know. That's all.
I just want to add. I think you are overplaying a teensy bit. What Eric Spoelstra, and forgive me for not knowing the Grizzlies head coach's name, but what they did this season, I think you're overplaying it a little bit.
How am I overplaying it? Bam Adebayo missed 26. He had a thumb surgery, missed 26 games.
Overplaying it.
I'm just saying, if you have the
Suns, I think when there's no clear cut winner.
Yeah, but they wasn't clear cut winner.
Yeah, well,
he won. He won by like a shit ton. Like
like
91%.
Because there was no one. It was like, sure, Monty Williams. This isn't like, wow, Monty Williams, you blew us away.
Yeah.
This was Monty Williams. You had the best record in the NBA. Coach of the year. No one was like.
Let me ask you this. And Ryan, let me know whenever you're ready. Do you think that the Suns would be the first place seed if Devin Booker missed? I don't want to say Devin Booker because Jimmy Butler's our best player. Devin Booker misses 15 games, and then Chris Paul misses 26 games, and then Kyle Lowry missed 14, I think, somewhere in that range. So who's the Suns? DeAndre Ayton, third best player probably, misses 15 games. You think they're still the 1 seed?
I'm not going to play what-if games.
I know you're not going to play it, but I'm just saying, just think about it yourself. Do you really think they'd still be the 1 seed? Or do you think no, they could still be the 1 seed for sure. But do you think they'd have the best record? As good of a record they have? I would say not. Anytime you're missing your best players consistently and relying on your bench to carry you, I would say you're not. That's the reason I picked Eric Spoelstra.
Also, Grizzlies head coach, forgive me, is Taylor Jenkins. Praise be upon him.
Praise be upon him. Yeah. And once again, I think he was not necessarily snubbed, but he didn't get as much love as he should. But it is what it is. We're here. Are you ready for us? Okay. We got to do better this week. I blame the reader.
Oh no, we went on some tangent.
I saw people saying that Jokic getting this MVP, people are going to look back on it just like they do Steve Nash getting it over Kobe.
Ooh. When Kobe won his MVP, he shouldn't have won it.
All right,
LeBron James should have won.
All right,
we'll get it. We'll get it.
Kobe was like 4th place that year.
Yeah.
He was on a terrible Lakers team. He just averaged 35 points a game.
Yeah.
LeBron was on a good Cavs team and was giving you 32.
Right.
So really, Steve Nash took it from LeBron.
Yes. We could get into this for days.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I hate that shit. Go on.
All right. Time starting. Get countdown.
Give us a countdown.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Now, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, the Joker.
Has won back-to-back MVPs this season.
Oh, that's
Was
all
this the right pick? You guys kind of just talked about it, but
Yes, 100% right pick.
Yep, right pick.
Right pick, absolutely grand slam.
Thank you.
all right. Ryan Tannehill seems to be getting a lot of heat for saying is not his job to mentor Malik. Is this wrong for him to be coming out and saying this?
Is it wrong to come out and say it? I think it's a bad move. I don't think he's wrong.
Why are you telling a quarterback to be a coach now? This is not a he has coaches. The coaches are supposed to mentor.
Last I checked, this was America. You can say what you want.
Yeah. If Tannehill asks for
If Tannehill wants to help, great on him. Good on him.
If
Cool.
Malik wants to know where the bathroom is, yeah, I expect Tannehill to tell him where it is.
Yeah,
Point him in
yeah.
the right direction.
I'm tired of that narrative. Piss me off. Go.
Dusty Baker
Ooh.
becomes 12 managers
Yeah.
to win 2,000 games and the first African American
Mm-hmm.
manager to do it. Is this a Hall of Fame for Dusty? Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, I don't know how you can not.
I agree. I mean, there's only 12 managers that ever got
Yeah.
2,000 wins. Gotta be.
Yeah, he'd be slam dunk if he had a World Series.
Yeah,
He does have World Series as a player, though, so he's got a lot of player stats.
He
too.
just hasn't been clutch.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time, a good manager, but never put it together like that.
Yeah,
You know?
blowing huge leads to the Giants.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Classic
Alright.
Dusty Baker move.
Chris Paul's family was shoved by a Mavs fan
Dude,
and
so
then quickly
proud.
escorted out of the game. Are fans becoming unhinged?
Yes. Dude, I'm telling you that we're about one playoff series away from a fan getting slept by an NBA player. I'm telling you.
I'm saying no. I think I want to see this.
What?
I don't
What
think
was
the
the,
fans are
uh,
becoming that unhinged.
Oh, I think so.
What was the brawl, the pout?
Mouse in the palace.
Malice,
The
pout?
general populace of NBA game goers are not unhinged.
Yeah, I would
They,
say
you know,
that.
and
I'm
even-
saying some of them
even
get out of
Kyrie-
pocket.
just some people are always out of pocket
Yeah.
everywhere you go. Kyrie even said in his post game, like, I can take it if you say this, I can take it when you say that, but there's a line and everyone knows what it is because you
Yeah.
don't say that to me when I'm walking on the street.
Right.
So I don't think they're becoming unhinged. I think some people, due to the nature of the world we live in now, are becoming more out of pocket because they don't know how to handle themselves.
Right.
All right. Kings hire Mike Brown
Oh,
from
yeah.
the Warriors as their new head coach.
Big
He
one.
also got hired
Last night.
Warriors head coach
Last night.
same
yeah.
day. Will this be a turnaround for the Kings?
No, it's not going to be a turnaround for the Kings.
I think it will be just because you got a good coach now.
A good coach? When has Mike Brown been a good coach when LeBron's not on the team?
He's still trying to get hired by him.
Hey, they're good. He's a better coach than what they
No.
had. Just no.
As a Cavs
That's it,
fan,
right?
I remember seeing Mike
Did
Brown.
we make it?
Hell no.
Looking
We went
forever.
over by
Oh,
like
and we lost
a
a
minute
god.
and a half.
Did we really? I blame Will. He went on a tangent, not me. That's all I'm saying.
I was over here on my cosign. You guys were on.
By
your-
that point, I knew we were over. So I was like, let me
Yeah, that
finish
is
my
true.
thought. Let me finish my thought here.
But I think he's a good hire. It's just better than what you're at. But that wraps up the episode. That wraps it up.
Let me just tell the fans, Mike Brown will not be the head coach of the Kings in 3 years.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll give you 3 years. But
Book it.
thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. We really do appreciate the Heat game's on now. We're getting our ass kicked. It's 2-0. We've already missed 1-3. So just look for another. Book it now. Sixers are gonna win.
Wow, no one is at this game.
No, it's the game just started.
Heat.
And I'll tell you this.
Did the Heat not have fans?
What is going on? This is the playoffs.
We had the 4th highest attendance.
Well,
throughout
what
the
is there a bomb threat? What's going on?
No, that happened in the Hawks series. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. John, you got anything to say to the people before they leave?
No, I don't.
Will, you got anything to say to the people?
We'll do better next time on the 2-minute drill.
We'll try. Ryan, you got anything to say to the people?
Go Heat.
All right, go Heat. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.